Today we're going to talk about creating a culture of community in online learning. And so I think it's first important to discuss what we mean by culture in a general sense. So culture, uh, in the familiar sense, deals with things like language. How do we communicate as a society? How do we behave? What are our customs? What is important to us? And how is our society organized? All of these can be applied to both the face-to-face and the online classroom. When we talk about the face-to-face classroom, I think culture is fairly straightforward for most teachers. It occurs somewhat naturally. It's the result of planning, and yet because it's all in one place and because you have people directly communicating with one another, it occurs somewhat naturally. The way that we form our culture is through feedback. We guide our students through written and verbal cues that help them know how to behave and what we expect of them and what the classroom is all about. The concern and feedback is expressed personally so that students know what to expect just as they do in every other aspect of their lives. And when we're building the culture of our particular communication, our particular classroom, participation is encouraged through conversation and Q&A and in other methods that are well understood by most teachers. But when it comes to the online classroom, how do we establish that community? Community is not as different as one might think, but it does require some planning and attention to detail. It must be designed by both the teacher who's instructing the course and anyone who might be designing the course for use by multiple teachers. Community and culture can be built in unexpected ways that transcend time and distance, and that's one of the beauties of the online classroom. And it can overcome difficult divides of race, gender, and socioeconomic status that have become such a problem in many of our schools today. Because in the online environment, people can't necessarily see what you look like, hear what you sound like, see what you're wearing, or any of those things. So it is a great equalizer, and it gives us a great opportunity to create a culture of equality in our classrooms. When we talk about building culture and community, it can be done in an asynchronous method, in other words, not in real time. And that can be done through discussions and collaboration by students, teachers, all working at different times but working toward the same goal. The teacher-student culture and community in the online environment becomes much more one-on-one. I like to say that instead of teaching 5 classrooms of 20, I teach 100 classrooms of 1 because I can individualize that instruction to students and give them what they need particularly. Students can communicate with each other in a way that allows them to communicate without a lot of the social barriers that may normally be in place. And there are tremendous opportunities for live community, whether that be electronic field trips or online meetings where all students are brought together, even though they might be at a great distance from one another. So how do we get to where we want to be from where we are? What we're going to do in the rest of this section of the course is examine the best practices of really good teachers. We'll follow the research and see what researchers say about online education and establishing community. And we'll learn about using effective classroom tools to achieve the kind of classroom culture that we desire. Good luck.